Chris, wake up.
What? Who is it?
It's John.
John who?
John Adams.
What time is it?
It's midnight. I'm appointing you as judge.
Before John Adams left office, he appointed federal judges called midnight judges. When Jefferson took over, he told his Secretary of State, James Madison, not to deliver the commissions. William Marbury, one of the judges whose commissions wasn't delivered, sued James Madison. Marbury believed he is entitled to his commission and that his lawsuit was the correct way to get it. The court stated that Marbury had right to his commission. During the case, the Judiciary Act of 1789 was ruled unconstitutional. Falls under the topic of three-branch issues.
Benjamin Gitlow was convicted in New York for having published and circulated unlawfully pamphlets and leaflets detrimental to the government. One of the pamphlets advocated overthrowing organized government by violent other unlawful means. The government ruling on this case was Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech. This case falls under civil rights.
Aaron Ogden.
That's me.
Who gave you permission to boat in these waters?
I have exclusive access from the state of New York.
Uh-huh. Well, I have a steamship license issued under an act of Congress to me, Thomas Gibbons, not allowing me to do so.
What?
Thomas Gibbons claimed that the exclusive right granted by the state of New York to Aaron Ogden to operate steamships within state waters was in conflict with the steamship license issued under an act of Congress to Thomas Gibbons. According to Ogden, New York state law protected his monopoly. However, Gibbons pointed out that he had a license to engage in the coasting trade. The court eventually ruled that a state cannot grant exclusive rights to navigate in its waters because it is a breach of Congress's right to regulate interstate commerce. This case has been called the Emancipation Proclamation of American Commerce.
Morrison was sued under the part of the Violence Against Women Act of 1994, which penalized crimes of violence motivated by gender. Christy Brazoncula enrolled at Virginia Tech in the fall of 1994. Shortly after enrolling, she was allegedly repeatedly sexually assaulted by two varsity football players at Virginia Tech. After the incident, Brazoncula suffered severe emotional distress. She twice participated in academic hearings against Morrison and later dropped out of the school. She finally brought the suit against the two male students, including Morrison, in the university in federal district court.
Alfonso Lopez, a 12th grade high school student, carried a concealed weapon into his high school. He was charged under Texas law with firearm possession on a school premises. The next day, the state charges were dismissed after federal agents charged Lopez with violating a federal criminal regulation, the Gun-Free School Zones Act of 1990. The act forbids any individual knowingly to possess a firearm at a place that he or she knows is in a school zone. Lopez believed that the 1990 Gun-Free School Zones Act was unconstitutional because it exceeds the power of Congress to legislate under the Commerce Clause. The court found Lopez guilty under the Gun-Free School Zones Act. Falls under the topic of civil liberties.
James William McCulloch claimed that a fine imposed by the state of Maryland for operating the Bank of the United States in Baltimore was an improper interference with federal government operations. The counsel for the state of Maryland pointed out that the Constitution did not specifically grant powers to the federal government to establish a bank. However, McCulloch's counsel argued that the federal government had the right to charter a bank as part of its regular financial operations. The court eventually ruled that the power to operate a bank was an implied power of the federal government under the Constitution, and this ruling is what established the principle of implied powers, paving the way for the expansion of the role of the federal government.